It's 2:45 and I just got home. Well, it's not exactly accurate. I got home at 2:30, and then I did a couple of things around here because I know I'm going to be too tired to do it after I film this video. And there's stuff I need to do in the morning that I'm probably not going to want to do when I wake up. So I figured let's do it now while I'm still moving. Because once I sit down, I ain't getting back up. It's been a long week, but there's something specific that I want to talk about in this video. Something that's been on my mind recently is race, and representation. And I have a complicated stance on this issue that seems to differ from the majority of colored people that I know. I'm trying to find I don't know what the most PC term is, just people of color. I feel like that just sounds just like colored people, except slightly less. I don't know. I don't see the difference between those two phrases, because you literally just switch the words. But yeah, like this whole issue was brought up because of a lot of things that have happened in recent years, like Black Panther, Crazy Rich Asians, 2 movies led by minority cast that end up being huge deals, and then you got this new one coming out, the Hate U Give, and like there are people who have asked me, hey, you're looking forward to that movie? And I'm like, I honestly don't know if I'm gonna see it, because that's an issue that doesn't really resonate with me that much, honestly. When I watched that, like the trailer, I mean, you know what? Let's start at the beginning. Let's just talk about how we got to this place in the first place. Cause I grew up in the suburbs. I had a couple of black neighbors, but the majority of people I knew, like, they did not have skin like mine. And so growing up, I was always used to being the only black guy in class. And I didn't really think twice about it. I was used to being the only black guy in class. I was used to only seeing 1 or 2 black people on every TV show I watched for the most part. I mean, there were a few here and there, like Sister Sister, Parenthood. I actually never saw Martin. I know, weird. The Wayans brothers. We had Homeboys in Outer Space. We had a lot of movies. We had a lot of TV shows out there. I never personally felt underrepresented because there was a lot of black media available, but there are a lot of other people who say things like that I've heard in conversations. They're like, oh, we don't see enough of us on the screen, and we don't see enough people like us in books and blah blah. I never felt that way, because apparently someone said this, which I never thought of it this way, that if you don't write the race of a character, then the assumption is automatically that they're white. I've never once felt like that. Like growing up, if a character is not, if you don't go out of your way to describe a character as Caucasian, then I usually just kind of put myself into that role of the main character. So if a character is only ever described as tall, dark, and handsome, I just picture myself, except tall and handsome, like Billy D. Williams. But for me personally, if I'm reading a book and someone does not go out of their way to describe this person as Caucasian, unless it says something like pale skin or blonde hair, blue eyes, and whatnot, red hair, freckles, unless it goes out of its way to say that, I'll usually just picture myself as the main character. But apparently other people didn't feel this way. And I don't know, because like me, I had very little instances of racism growing up. Like, I never had anyone tell me you can't do this or you can't do that because you're just a nigger. In fact, a lot of people, they were very encouraging. I had a lot of white teachers, old white men, telling me, hey, you could be the first black president. Which, thanks for ruining that dream, Obama. Jeez. But, I never once felt like there was nothing I couldn't do just because I was black. And the few instances of racism that I did encounter, they were relatively innocent, just, I'm hoping that it was just the misunderstandings of children. But, like, I remember playing, like, when I was in elementary school, there were times where, like, I think the most racism I encountered would be, oh, let's play Power Rangers. I'm like, cool, can I be the Green Ranger? They're like, no, you can be the Black Ranger. What about the Red Ranger? Can I be the Red Ranger? No, you'll be the Black Ranger. I want to be the Blue Ranger. You know what? I will be the Pink Ranger if I have to. But then who's going to be the Black Ranger? And honestly, with those people, it reached the point where I just stopped playing with them, and I found some people who would let me be the damn Green Ranger. And if I didn't have anyone who would let me play the character that I wanted, I would just go play by myself. That's right, been playing with myself my whole life. Cheers to 21 years. Why did I say 21, Ax? That makes no sense. 28. Damn it. But yeah, someone tells me, oh, you can't be Spider-Man, or you can't be Lex Luthor because, oh, you can't be Superman. Someone says you can't be Superman because you're black. First thought in my head is, that sounds like something Lex Luthor would say. Pah! I can be Black Superman if I want to be. I never felt discouraged by that. In fact, the majority of racism that I've experienced in my life has come from minority people. Because I think I spent my entire life around Hispanic people. I didn't notice that growing up. I didn't think about the fact that half of my class had last names like Ruiz and Solis and Garza and things like that. It never occurred to me. Then I moved to another school where half the kids are named Hector and Raul, and suddenly, people are trying to figure out like how black I am, and when they do realize that I'm a guy born in the suburbs, raised on Power Rangers and Pokemon and Seventh Heaven and Backstreet Boys and Spice Girls. Now I'm living in a trailer park surrounded by people who were raised on Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, growing up listening to Pac and Biggie. And suddenly I'm in a world I don't understand, and I spend the next 12 years of my life being told that I'm the whitest black guy that anyone's ever met. And that bothers me to an extent, just because I hate the fact that there are terms like black and white, which instead of describing a race as they should, it's used to describe a personality type. And I hate the fact that the word black, or the term African, that is oftentimes associated with a specific type of person and a specific type of lifestyle. I think more than anything else, I just hated being stereotyped. And, so for me, like I talked about this before, I've had there are things that have bothered me a lot more than the race thing. I come from an abusive household, so that's something that's on my mind nearly every day of my life. I've suffered from depression. I've tried killing myself multiple times. So mental illness, awareness of it and stuff, that's on my mind. And actually next week I'm going to make a video entirely about mental illness and just my own personal experiences throughout my life. Let's have that open conversation. And so, but things like that have always bothered me more. And so even though, yes, I'm of African descent, and I'm proud of that. I will not deny it ever. However, I hate the term African American, because you know what? My relatives have been here since the 1800s, and possibly longer, but it's hard to trace your heritage past that because slave owners didn't really keep good records of their property. I mean, why would you go out of your way to tell everyone, oh yeah, this chair is from Nigeria, this pickaxe I got it from Zimbabwe? Let's just be real. So for me, Like, I'm not saying that the term African American is inherently wrong, but I legitimately do not want it to apply to me because I was born and raised in this country. Never once stepped foot outside of it. My mom and my grandmother, her mother, they were all born and raised in this country. I've had people who served in the military, and a lot of military people in my family. And, like, I just feel like I deserve to be called an American. Because if I'm not an American, then all of you white people get to be European American. And actually, some of you, if you're from, like, Far Eastern Russia, technically Asian American. Technically. Because, I mean, how many of the white people out there did your parents immigrate here from Poland and Germany and Switzerland? Yet, all of you is just, it's an American male, and then this one's an African American male. Now, it's like, there's a good chance, there are a lot of white people out there that there's a good chance my relatives were here before theirs. And if not, well, then you might owe my family an apology. But I feel like I might have gotten off track with the original purpose. Like, race, it is something I think about. But it's never been the biggest concern in my life, and I've never felt like it was a detriment. Honestly, I'd watch a show like Seventh Heaven. And yes, I know there are no black people, but that doesn't make me feel like I can't be there. That made me feel like, great, I have an in. Like, I can just march on the set and be like, can I have a role? Sorry, we're not hiring right now. Oh, 'cause I'm black? You don't want niggas on your show? And then once I get on the show, because, like, I'm the same age as Mackenzie Roseman, who played Ruthie Camden. And then I could be like, hey, I'm a teenager, she's a teenager, I feel like she should have a romance. I don't think that's the direction we want to, because I'm black? She too good to date a nigga, huh? Like, that's what went through my head. Because, like, I did grow up, like I said, I watched shows like The Wayne Bros, where it's all black people. But I also saw shows like Reba, which was on for, 5-6 years, I think. And, it had, like, one gay character showed up once for a single episode. It had one episode with a bunch of black people from New Orleans after Katrina. Other than that, entirely white people. And I'm like, that's my in. If I get on the show, I make a good enough first impression, and people start demanding I come back, and now they have to bring me back because they don't have anything but white people on the show. I'm the black guy. They need that. It never once crossed my mind that for a lot of these shows and movies that there already were thousands of black people applying, and they got turned away because Hollywood just didn't want to cast them. That thought did not cross my mind. That's something that someone had to point out to me. So, yeah, I've never felt disenfranchised, even though there is a lot of disenfranchisement of minorities. I've never felt like I was... What's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to think of that word. Marginalized. Like, even though we are a marginalized people, I never felt personally marginalized. And it bothers me to a small degree, because at the end of the day, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. But it bothers me to a small degree that, I can have conversations with people, and it's just, like, it's never like they're pissed off or even, like, super shocked. But, like, there are times when I'll have a conversation with someone, and, we talk about a story I'm writing, and they have this look of, like, oh, really? And sometimes they actually say that or something to that effect, because I'm not writing hood movies. I'm not writing black movies for black people. Like, there's this one movie I've definitely talked about here before. I did a review for it, I believe, years ago. I don't know if it's still on here. But it's The Brothers. It's got, like, Shamar Moore, Bill Bellamy, D.L. Hughley, Morris Chestnut, Gabrielle Union, a lot of black people. The girl from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I think. And it's a movie. It's a black movie. It's written by a black guy, directed by a black guy, starring black people, and heavily marketed towards black audiences. And I think that's the same thing that's happening with The Hate U Give. But for me, like, I've never done that. It's not that no, it's not that I'll go out of my way to avoid writing about black characters. It's just that I've never felt that responsibility for it. I've got a lot of Hispanic characters throughout many of my stories because, I don't know, that's just the world I grew up in. South Texas, heavily Hispanic population. And oftentimes there will be black characters in different stories just because, like, that character is based entirely off of me or something. But, like, I never feel like I have to make this an entirely black cast movie. Because, like I talked about with, like, Crazy Rich Asians, I was watching this interview with Constance Wu, and she was talking about how, like, for the first time ever, I felt comfortable just on set, just being myself. And I'm like, I've never felt that. Like, I've never felt pressure from, like, white people to be a certain way. Like, I am who I am, and for some reason, I just happen to get along better with the white people more often. Just, like, a lot of people, I've had black people who have actually legitimately gotten mad at me because I've never dated a black girl. That being said, the majority of black girls I met are just too ghetto for me. They're too damn loud and proud, and you know what? You do you, baby. You do you. That's just not what I'm into, though. I don't want someone whose whisper sounds like they're shouting at the top of their lungs. But, I actually, fun fact, there have been 5 black women in my life that I've been, like, legitimately attracted to. All 5 of them, at the time that I knew them at least, dating a white guy. I wonder what that says about me. Actually, I'm pretty sure I know what it says, but I won't tell you. I'm going to let you guess. You're probably going to guess right. It's pretty obvious. But no, I've had people legitimately mad at me because, like, I don't go out of my way to only date black women or only adore, like, black celebrities. You know what? I've been a big fan of, like, Will Smith and LL Cool J, but I also love Eminem and Taylor Swift. Huge fan of Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato. Huge fan of Nelly and Ludacris. Huge fan of the Backstreet Boys. And it pisses me off. More than anything else, I just hate, like I said, I think the thing that bothers me the most is just being stereotyped. And I feel like I receive that more from the minority community in general. And I think a big part of that is just that I'm lucky enough to be around white people who realize that they're surrounded by minorities and they're a little more hesitant to say anything that could come off remotely racist because they know that there are some people out there who are just looking for an excuse to get pissed off and go after you. So I think that's played a big role in it. Like, I think the thing that bothers me the most is just like I shouldn't have to ask this question, but, what does it mean to be black? Like, what does it mean to be a black man in America? Like, what does that entail? And it pisses me off that I have to ask that question, because you know what the answer should be? I got brown skin. I think that should be the only answer that we need. But apparently it's not. Apparently that's not enough. Just, I don't know, because I do write stories with black people. I don't ever write black stories where it's like written entirely for black people, about black people, marketed to black people. My first goal is to just write a story that I love. That's it. And I usually never write a story with any audience in mind. I'm just gonna write the story that I like the best and hope that somebody somewhere loves it. And maybe that's why I'm not famous yet. I don't know, man. It's something that bothers me. Now, if I tell a white person that I don't go out of my way to write black people, like, they're curious, they're confused, they're not angry. If I tell a black, sorry, it's 3 in the morning, I'm stumbling with the words. I've had conversations where I've had black people jump down my throat because I said, like, I'm not going to write just purely black stories. Now, I definitely believe in the whole, there should only be one race, the human race. I understand that that's not what the world is like, but still, like, that's what I hope for, if we can ever make it there. I don't know. Because there are people who will say that my attitude and my perspective hurts the cause. I'm like, also, let's talk on the subject of the police just real quick, because it has something to do with this, with like the hate you give and stuff. Because like, I was watching the trailer, and like I definitely, it's weird because when I saw it, my first instinct wasn't shock. I wasn't like pissed off at the cops. I mean, first of all, it is a movie, but like, when I saw it happen, I wasn't thinking, "Oh my God, that poor boy," and I wasn't thinking, "What the fuck, damn racist cops." Like me, I was watching the guy, and he wasn't aggressively fighting them off or anything, but he was being somewhat non-compliant. Now, they told him to stand still, like arms on the car, and he starts moving around, even reaches into the car. Like, I'm not saying they should have shot him. Like, I don't think cops should ever kill an unarmed guy. But in that situation, I feel like he definitely could have done more for himself. Like, because one of the blackest things about me is that the people who raised me taught me that even in my neighborhood, even in a city like San Antonio, that to be afraid of the police. No, I don't know if I've never wanted dashiki. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. But I've always known to be afraid of the police because they carry guns and they have the right to shoot you. And the one thing I was told was, don't give them a reason. When the cops are around, treat them like you're their slave. Just say yes sir and no sir. Do exactly as they say. Just make it as hard on them as possible. Like, don't give them any excuse to do anything more than necessary. Cause especially with the whole Rodney King thing and the L.A. riots. It's just. Now, I know that cops aren't evil. Okay, I'm not going around saying fuck the police. I am weary of any cop that happens to come by me, because I do realize that for the mere fact that my skin is brown, like, I am aware of the fact that alone gives them an excuse to target me. So I'm a little tense when they show up. But there's also a feeling of comfort in knowing that I've done nothing wrong. So try to arrest me, motherfucker. You ain't got shit on me. You ain't got shit on me. Yeah, honestly, I don't hate cops because they're people. They're human beings. And just like in any industry, the presence of humanity causes, an element of, I don't know what I was gonna say. It left my brain as soon as I started talking. But like, error, that's what I was thinking. There's always gonna be, the presence of humans always leads to human error. And cops in general are not necessarily evil. Because I think, for one thing, every single cop that's ever existed, at one point in time they were a 4-year-old crying for their mommy. just like you and I were. No, I think the majority of cops legitimately enter the force just wanting to do some good in the world. Wanting to protect, wanting to make their city a better place to live. And I admire people who are willing to put their lives on the line for the sake of others. That being said, it does have to be acknowledged that there are some really shitty people out there. And a lot of those really shitty people somehow end up with badges and guns. And that's something that definitely needs to be addressed. I'm tired. I'm gonna go to bed. Let's see. So next week I'm gonna talk about mental illness. And I learned something today, that a couple teaspoons of potassium nitrate could kill somebody. It's good to know that. And no, I'm not planning on killing anybody, because if I was, I wouldn't have said that on the internet and left the evidence. I'm just saying, it's good to know that fact. I enjoy knowing facts. Damn. Also, I'm learning that, you know what? I'm going to save something for next week. Actually, no, 2 weeks from now. Next week, gonna just talk about mental illness and my personal experience with it, and with therapy, and some of the who, what, when, where, why, and hows of it. And so, yeah, until next week, good night, everybody.